one day after protesters shut down a House office building on Capitol Hill, there are now questions today about how exactly it happened. And in the wake of the January 6 riots, does security need to be even tighter?
You see, that was my first question yesterday.
Tom Fitzgerald was there yesterday. He's there again today. And Fitz, you finally got some clarity from Capitol Police. What are they saying about what happened yesterday?
Yeah, well, obviously, in the heat of the moment yesterday, Capitol Police was unable to provide us real-time numbers on how many people they had actually arrested. We have that now. U.S. Capitol Police telling Fox 5 that they made 308 arrests yesterday inside the Cannon building. Now, of those were 3 individuals who were charged with actually assaulting police officers. The rest were, charged with not heeding the officer's warning to end this protest and to leave the building. But I can tell you throughout the Capitol campus today, there have been big questions about what was seen on here. Not because there were protests. We've seen protests up here for years, and in a democracy like ours, we will continue to see protests. What was concerning to some Hill staffers was the fact that there was actually a heads up on this. There was an email sent out by the Sergeant Senator of Arms on Tuesday night, alerting them to this First Amendment demonstration and actually advising them to use the tunnel system that's underneath the Capitol complex, which really connects all of the buildings up here. We spoke with U.S. Senator Tim Kaine today. He said, his own hearing yesterday about appointing an ambassador to Israel, which is a pretty important thing right now, was interrupted 3 times yesterday by protesters. So Senator Kaine says today that in his view, yes, First Amendment demonstrations, are something you're going to have up here on Capitol Hill, but in light of what people saw up here yesterday, and that was one of the biggest demonstrations we've seen in a Capitol office building in some time, certainly in the wake of January 6, 2021. Senator Kaine believes that there is going to have to be a security assessment about how this was all handled yesterday and whether or not procedures were followed correctly.
I agree with him 150%. Are we hearing anything from either Capitol Police or MPD and their feelings about how everybody was able to just walk up into the Cannon building?
All right, well, it's nice that you agree with them. The fact of what we've heard from the Capitol Police is this. How do they get into the building? That's a question we had a lot of people on Twitter opining about and writing all kinds of things that really had no basis in fact. This isn't a mystery. How they got into the building was they walked through the entrances. This happens all the time up here. You'll have protesters entering the building, which is completely legal. They go through the security screening, just like everybody else. But, remember a couple of years ago, the flash mobs were a big thing? People would suddenly start springing into dance. That's what they do. They go to the door, they present themselves for security screening. If they are deemed to be safe, they're allowed to enter the building. These are public, open, federal buildings. These are how people engage with their lawmakers. Sometimes they engage with them nicely. Sometimes they make a big racket and a lot of noise and wind up getting 308 of them arrested because of the way they behaved up here yesterday. The difference is what happens once they're in there. Are they assaulting police officers? Well, if they are, they're going to get arrested. The question's moving forward right now. Do they need to change the procedures as to whether or not they know that there's a protest group going in there as opposed to just some organization or people that are there just to have a constituent meeting with their lawmaker? Well,
to your point, Fitz, I mean, they were aware these protests were happening. And so the fact is that this still happened, right?
Where my question is coming from, if they put out a bulletin, hey, these people are coming, and they still let them in with all of the heightened security in the middle of, like you said, an appointment for an ambassador to Israel. Yeah, what is going on is what I'm really saying.
A lot of questions, and I'm sure there'll be a post-mortem about how that all went down. Tom Fitzgerald for us down on the Hill again today, looking into those very questions. Thank you, Tom. Let's move on to topic number